This is Paul. Yeah. Yeah, I went to breakfast. I had a good breakfast. Yeah. And I was talking to a guy that works at the Forest Service. Yes. And so I sat down. I opened up this dictionary, and they have what's called architecture. Yeah. It's the art or science of designing building structure, the method and style of construction and building architectonics. Yeah. And what they have is an architect, a person who designs and supervises the preparation for and construction of large structures, especially those requiring knowledge of physical principles. Yeah. And it turns out that he's an architect. And we got to talking because he works in National Forest Service for 40 plus years. And I said, well, you probably had to say the oath of office to be able to get that job. And he thought about it. He said, well, I don't really remember 40 years ago what the application said. Well, I got to thinking about this morning when I opened the dictionary. I had emailed the nation's architects. There's actually, in the federal government, they're called the architects of the nation. Every federal building built goes through the architects. As that American that's suing for every asset of the federal government. Every building that has been built using taxpayer money for all of the federal buildings of those that are federal employees has gone through the approval process of the architects. Now I'm just going to need to know, where are the architects of the Capitol? Where are the architects of the nation's federal buildings? Yeah, where are they? When I informed the architects of the nation's federal buildings that I had designed and planned on making some improvements, I designed a heating system that uses the warmth from the electricity of the wiring system in federal buildings to heat the windows to 65 degrees. Yeah. Heat the flooring. I designed a flooring that heats all the flooring in federal buildings to 65 degrees. Yes, just using the warmth from the electricity from the wiring of federal buildings. Yes, we did. I have a certain type of hot roof technology and solar water technology and some of these other innovations that should have been installed in every federal building over the last 22 months, but instead of enforcing the laws of the United States, the architects of the federal government decided they weren't going to. I don't know what it costs to heat a federal building. But when you have all that warmth from the electricity that goes through the wiring of federal buildings, yeah. Getting a federal building to 65 degrees means that in your personal office, you might adjust it just 2 or 3 degrees depending upon the warmth of the individual that uses a federal office. Right. Now, my whole thought was I would heat all the federal buildings at about 80 to 90% less than what they are currently paying for their electricity costs. Now, I'm going to need to know all the federal employees that are in maintenance of every federal building that every federal employee works in. Yes! The last 60 years of employees that have been employed as architects in every branch of the federal government. Now, it's so nice that I had informed the nation's architects that we were going to make some changes to federal buildings. I was going to recondition them so that they're good for the next 50 to 100 years. But instead of enforcing the Constitution of the United States, America's federal employees decided to do nothing. They continue to pay these exorbitant amounts of expenses and utility costs for federal buildings when I myself have said we're going to make these improvements. Now give me every building owned by the United States federal government where all the federal employees work. I want to know what they've been paying in utility costs for the last 60 years, what utilities have been getting paid to provide electricity.